Popcorn World. Popcorn World. Yeah. Now, yes, I can. So you can get this groove in the back of a can. I can make it round the world when it holds in your hand. Popcorn World. 250 flavors gonna make you smile. 250 flavors gonna make you smile. 250 flavors gonna make you smile. I said popcorn make you smile. Ah. 250 flavors. Popcorn World. Popcorn World. Popcorn World.
BetOnline is your number one source for all your betting needs. Hey everybody, it's Lloyd Spence with BLEAV in the ACC, and get the latest odds, lines, and matchup reports for baseball, boxing, golf, and more. BetOnline continues to be the fastest and easiest way to place your wagers, including live betting and your favorite casino and card games available to play right from your phone. So head to the website and use your mobile device to sign up today and get in on the action. Remember to use the promo code BLEAV for your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. That's BLEAV, B-L-E-A-V. It's BetOnline. It's where the game starts. You can tell them the noisemaker sent you.
You're now listening to BLEAV in the ACC with Heisman Trophy winner and Florida State legend, Mr. Charlie Ward, Wave 3 TV, and Fern Creek Hall of Famer, Kendrick Haskins, and Mr. Talking Noise himself, and of course, Mama Noise, Lloyd Spence. And now, it's time for BLEAV in the ACC.
We are so glad to be back here with you today, and we're calling this our official kickoff of the season. Like the summer part's over, so now we're really back. And so, of course, we got some preview stuff to do with you, and we got a special guest that's going to join us today. And we're going to get into all of that as the show unfolds. But right now, we're going to do introductions. I'm Lloyd Spence. That's Kendrick Haskins over there. He's a Hall of Famer and a Sportscaster of the Year. He does all of that and a sports director. He's that amazing. And then, of course, there's our Heisman Trophy winner, our state championship coach, an all-around great guy. And apparently a Knicks fan.
And a member of a national championship
team. Okay. He doesn't like to bring that part up.
Well, he does if you mention it you mention it as the team. He doesn't want to mention by himself. Am I right, Coach Junior?
Yeah.
Okay. He was a part of the first. Was it the first? That was the first one ever, right?
Yes.
That you led, right? I'm not going to humble flex you. I'm not baiting you.
We're
you don't
not
have to be
you.
cautious. I feel like cautiousness coming from you right now. I'm not baiting you. I'm just asking questions.
Well, if I've always learned that if someone says something and then they have to explain it, then that means that that's what they're doing.
Okay, all right, that's fair. That's fair. But this is a safe space, Charlie. Okay.
You're amongst friends and family.
Now, if Kendrick was behind the controls, you would absolutely be humble flex by now. But this is a safe space. Yes, absolutely. There's no question about it. There's no question about it. But this is a safe space. Well, listen, we got a lot to talk about today. We're gonna have a lot of fun. I can't wait. Our special guest coming from ESPN, Miss Laura Rutledge, is going to join us here in just a little bit. But before we get to any of that, we do have some not breaking news, but developing news. Apparently some conversations went down yesterday, and the conversations involved Cal, Stanford, and SMU again. And now, and as with all things, according to all of this that's going on, it involves some shifting of the funds. And so somehow, and I don't have the whole story. I'm going to just tell you right now. I'm still kind of figuring out the story. But somehow in this new model of expansion, the model shows a $72 million annual additional revenue for the conference. And in that model, it feels SMU's not going to take any distribution for as many as 7 years. Is that what I'm reading right?
I read something similar. I saw that they were taking some concessions to join the conference.
They just want to get out of wherever they are to come to wherever they can go to.
Which
basically what it all comes down to. So much so that they're willing to leave money on the table. It's basically what we're all talking about. So now, with that being said, now all of a sudden it looks like this might be a little more of a real thing.
Right.
And I don't know if there's a vote coming down at some point, but this is an interesting concession that is being made. And one league administrator said, quote, "We will be ironing out this over the next 72 hours. Charlie, what do you think about joining a conference just to say you did, but you're having to take a pay cut? I don't know if it's a pay cut. I don't know what it is, but you can't get the money that you thought you were going to get, I guess.
I mean, sometimes you do what you need to do to get in the room. I mean, it's not a bad situation as far as being in a conference that you feel like may become the fourth, because you don't want to, a lot of times you don't want to be left out. I mean, that's kind of essentially what some of them are doing. And they're at a point where they don't have much leverage, when it comes to their situation, because SMU probably wants to get into a bigger conference, and they're not being invited to the one that's right next door to them, the Big 12, and Stanford and Cal. There's only 4 teams in the Pac-12, so and then I don't know what their plan is for the Pac-12. So I just think those 3 teams that are mentioned don't have much leverage, and they just want to go and find a home. I mean, if the home is a cottage, in a nice neighborhood, then they'll be okay with that until they can build up whatever it is they need to build, or however long it takes to be able to go and get one of those nice homes. So I just think that's where they are.
Well, yeah, I agree with Charlie. I think they basically they're desperate to get into a conference like Charlie said, because they could see what's coming, and the Big 12 is not making any noise as far as bringing them in, and then Cal and Stanford are kind of over a barrel. So if the ACC can pull this off, shout out to finally, playing hardball with somebody. and maybe they got a little hair on their chest. Maybe they can go out and play some hardball with Notre Dame and bring them into the conference fully. We'll see.
Well, I'll just say this: you said, Charlie, that they have very little leverage. I would say they have zero leverage. Apparently, they have zero leverage. This is the type of situation where you just want to get invited to the prom. Like you either get invited or you don't go, and that's kind of where we are.
And you invited or go with your cousin,
or you go. But see, that's just it. The cousin ain't even invited. I don't know. They don't even have a path to get in at all. Like it's just. There's no way to get into this thing. It's an interesting circumstance.
I kind of applaud SMU for being aggressive, though. And I mean, because you sacrificing money on the front end for the money on the back end.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's be clear. SMU has fought their way back from literally hell. Like they were that program was left for dead on the side of the road in a ditch in a cave.
But why? Why were they left for dead?
Well, they were left for dead for basically the same thing that we're now giving people right now. which is insane to say out loud, but it's the reality, right? It's unbelievable to think that we tried to kill that program for the exact same thing that 30 years later that's all legitimate now, but that's the truth. And so
they gotta be. I mean, the way they were playing when they got the death penalty. I mean, if they can come back.
I was gonna say, can you imagine what they would be today if that had never happened? They were a juggernaut. SMU was a juggernaut.
They were a juggernaut, yes.
And so now, and by the way, for those of us who lived in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, like myself, SMU has the money to come all the way back. They'll
be back. And that's why I think that's why they're fine with sacrificing money on the front end to join the ACC.
For sure.
They got plenty of money.
For sure. They have plenty money. They have all of the everything. There's no problems whatsoever.
And seeing them come back, I mean, that brings back all that nostalgia from the 80s. Those Eric Dickerson days, those SMU teams, they were so fun to watch back in the day.
I agree. I think it'll be fun. So this is going to be interesting to see what happens over the next 72 hours, although I'm wondering, will it take 72 hours?
I think we're going to find out by the end of the day.
I was going to say what's been happening is no later than Friday. We've been finding out everything we needed to know about all of this. So it should be interesting to see how this all unfolds. But man, that was a big turnaround because last week they didn't want to talk to those guys, and now all of a sudden they're the expansion is in the works.
I kind of think that the teams that want to leave are starting to realize how hard it is for them to be able to leave. And so there's like, you know what, we need to make this happen.
I agree, 100%.
Yeah,
I think our guest has. Go ahead, Charlie.
But I did see something where, oh man, Drew Rutherford. I don't know if y'all been following Drew.
Okay.
He's on the board of FSU, and of course he's a former quarterback at FSU.
I remember him. Yeah. He was after you, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
No, he wasn't right after me, but he was shortly after.
Right.
He brought up a point that the SEC and I think the Big Ten, their actual TV contracts comes up for renegotiation before the ACC. Before the ACC can negotiate their contract.
The ACC's got the longest contract in the history of TV.
It's bad, Charlie. It's bad. It's really bad, okay? Now, I don't know if we should be saying how bad it is in front of our special guest right now because she's here. She is a representative of the place. But it's not their fault. It's not ESPN's fault that it's bad. It's just what it is. Okay, but ladies and gentlemen, the pride of the University of Florida is in the building.
Look at her
The
gator
host of
orange
NFL
on.
Live and SEC Nation, and the proud mother of Reese and Jack.
All right.
Miss Laura Rutledge is here. How you doing?
Hi, guys. I heard y'all talking bad about me. Were you talking bad about me?
We would never,
What
first
was
of all, we
that?
would never talk bad about you. That is never going to happen. But what we were talking about is how our beloved ACC is in a I'm not gonna call it a toxic relationship, but it's not.
It's in flux, right?
It's an influx relationship, Laura. That's what we're talking about. It's not. I mean, it's not.
I hear you.
It is allowing you to do some amazing things, though. So that's nice.
Look at all that ham.
Hey, I'm thankful, and I'm very thankful for this ham. I wish you guys could smell this through the screen.
Oh,
Like
this-
I feel kind of bad saying that because that's sort of like I can smell something great and you can't, but it really is delicious smelling.
Can I just be fully transparent? I am a massive honey baked ham fan. That is my
Yes.
yearly go-to. Now, this is not playing well with Mr. Charlie Ward because he's
He's
not
vegan.
the biggest fan of meat. But
I'm a plant-based eater.
but
He likes
Kendrick
faux
and I
ham.
are
I have
all in.
options for him. Well, listen, I mean, the great thing, so I love that you're a honey baked ham fan. The great thing about their new tailgate packs is you don't have to wait now just once a year to have your honey baked ham. Okay. So you can actually have it every week. And I hope that you will. But you can literally get this half ham playmaker pack, which is a bone-in half ham. Take it to your tailgate, impress everybody. Everybody's going to love you. And for Charlie, our plant-based eater, we have some nice potato salad here. There is bacon in the broccoli, in the bacon broccoli bliss, but we could probably get some of that removed for you, or you could eat around it. Either way, it's delicious. And you, of course, have sandwich options as well as the Pick 2 slider pack. So I can't wait to hear what you guys think when you try all of this food. And I'm hoping it's going to be a weekly occasion for you.
It'll be
Well, I
soon for me because the honey baked ham around the corner from my house, and so
Yes,
it would be
that's right.
very
You just go
soon
pick
for
it
me.
up from the store. It's
Right.
so easy. Or you can go online, honeybake.com/tailgate.
I'm completely torn because the big game sandwich pack looks amazing, but so does the Pick 2 slider pack. And I'm a grab and go kind of guy when it comes to the game. So I could go either way with one of those. So I'm all in on both of those.
Yeah, I mean, so this is something that I've been hearing on social media, and I agree. The Tavern Club right here in the Big Game Sandwich Pack, I think is the best sandwich of all time. It has all the components you need. If you're a bacon lover like me, you've got the bacon, you've got, of course, your condiments, your vegetables, you've got your cheese, you've got delicious, juicy turkey, great bread too. I think that's a big sandwich thing that sometimes gets overlooked. And of course, you've got, your classic ham croissant with the Swiss cheese as well. Also another turkey sandwich too. So that one is a real winner. But the one thing about the sliders I got to point out is you have a ham and Swiss as well as a turkey and cheddar option. You also bake them in the oven. You just pop them in for 20 minutes after you pick them up, and you pour melted garlic herb butter on top.
Oh,
So,
nice.
I mean, melted herb garlic butter sandwich it. Like you just might have to get both because I don't
Those
think you
are
can
all
choose.
good things.
I agree.
Charlie, how do you pass
love
this stuff
butter.
up? Oh God, yes.
You
So
can't.
Charlie, you're still out. You're telling us you're still out after all of that. You're gonna stay the course because that sounds awfully swaying.
No.
Yeah.
I'm good.
I think you need. Well, I have some grapes here, but the ham is way better. So
I can
Come on.
I can work with the grapes. I'm curious to know about these mac and cheese.
There we go.
What you call? I'm not sure what you call them, but
I do have some mac and cheese bites that
Yeah,
you
there
can
you
make
go.
with the
Mac
honey
and-
baked ham.
there you go,
That's
mac
what
and
you're
cheese
curious
bites.
about? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
But it's
curious
real
Yeah,
about
cheese,
so-
that.
though,
Look
Charlie.
at Charlie loaded up on some mac and cheese bites.
It's real cheese, though, right? It's not like
Or you can put your own. You can put your plant-based cheese in there.
no.
Yes,
Charlie,
you could.
okay.
It might not taste as good, but you could do that. But yeah,
Right.
you make your mac and cheese ahead of time, and you just mix in some ham that maybe you had left over, and you bake it, and you've got a delicious little mac and cheese bite in your muffin tin.
There you go.
You guys are going to be like chefs with my recipes here.
I can see.
Listen, I'm impressed. I'm impressed. So how would they go about? It? Just got to get to Honey Baked Ham, a location near you, or can you order it online? How does it all work?
Yeah, so go to the easiest thing is go to a Honey Baked Ham store near you, which it sounds like y'all have one close by. Or you can go to honeybaked.com/tailgate. You just place your order there. But yeah, if you go to the store, I mean, you just pick it up and take it right home with you, and everyone at your tailgate is going to say, "Yeah, I'm going to come back to that tailgate every single week."
All right, before we go on, we're gonna break the fourth wall here a little bit. I've trolled you a little bit, and I know for a fact that you've tried all of these.
Oh yeah,
you and the fam bam. Shout out to the great Josh who's holding it down for the family. Which is your favorite?
Okay, so I'm torn because I am a sandwich lover. So that applies to sliders sometimes too. I would say right now, my favorite is the Tavern Club, but it's so hard to go against the sliders. So you just have to know that like this is 1A for me, and then the Pick 2 slider pack is 1B. They're so good, you guys. You have to try them.
I can't wait.
They're like melt in your mouth good.
I can't wait. I'm looking forward to it.
They look delicious. I haven't had anything to eat yet this morning. So yeah, this is all looks fantastic.
I wish I could like hand you one through the screen.
Right?
It'd be great. But obviously technology is not advanced to pass
quite yet.
So I got a couple of questions since you are the host of both NFL Live and the SEC Nation. Got a couple of SEC questions. I'm just curious, can Alabama win its conference? Because I mean, let's start there, because it seems like that's a struggle right now because of the great where Georgia is. Can they win this thing, or what's going on there?
That's going to be the tough thing. And you know, when you think about what Georgia's built, I mean, it's been in the model of what Nick Saban used to do, and Kirby Smart certainly has blazed his own trail, but that model of physicality and having good quarterback play, but doesn't have to be a world changer at quarterback because they've built so much around him, and an excellent defense. It works really well, right? I mean, that's how Alabama won a lot of championships in the past. They've done it other ways too. But I think for Alabama, and this has been something that's been a storyline for them before, right? Even with some of these great quarterbacks that are now in the NFL, they don't know who their quarterback is. And I think we're going to see both Ty Simpson and Jalen Milroe probably early on. I mean, the fact that they have Texas at home week 2, that's a game that's going to have such a spotlight on it. It is advantageous for them that it's in Tuscaloosa, but I do think there's going to be a lot of conversation around that quarterback spot. And it's a matter of like, who can endure that pressure? That's going to be difficult for sure. To me, you know, when you look at college football as a whole, once again, I don't think you can count out Alabama. Georgia's going to be right at the top. I think LSU's knocking on that door a little bit, guys. You know, that could give Alabama some trouble too in the SEC West. And there could be a team that comes out of nowhere. Like Kentucky's schedule's pretty easy. Are they undefeated when they see Georgia midpoint of the season? It's going to be fascinating to see how it all shakes out.
Now we have a resident Seminole on the bottom half of our screen who likes to say that they need to fly under the radar. I know it goes against everything in your will to say something nice about Florida State, but will you please let Charlie Ward know that this team is not flying under the radar this year?
Charlie, I'm sorry, but everybody knows Florida State's going to be really good. And I am a believer in them. You know, look, I think that the tough thing for them is seeing LSU so early on, right off the bat in the season. That's going to dictate the way a lot of people look at them, right? So if they win that game, everyone's like, oh, boom, right into the top 5. They're going to be a college football playoff contender. If they lose the game, probably depends how they lose, then they're still in the mix, right? It's not an ACC team. They could still be the ACC champion, which I believe they will be. So I think Florida State has a relatively easy path, depending on how it all shakes out after LSU. But it is going to be fascinating to see if they can live up to the hype, because they are not flying under the radar. And for that reason, actually, the Honey Baked Ham tailgate tour is stopping by there. It's actually October 14th, Syracuse at FSU. So all of y'all who may want to try some of these new tailgate packs, or maybe you've already tried them, but you just want to come get some, you want to hang out with Honey Baked Ham team, they'll be on campus for that game.
That's why she's a professional.
Well,
She slid that right on in there.
was
No,
good.
I'm just playing. I just play one on TV, guys. I don't.
You are one of the best to do it. Let me just tell you, one of the best to do it.
Thank
And
you.
we are so appreciative of you stopping by on your honey baked tour and hanging out with us for just a few minutes. We appreciate you.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate
Thanks.
y'all.
Thanks, Laura.
Thank you so much. All right.
That was fun.
That was fun. That was fun.
Now, Steve Charlie, you're not flying under the radar down in Tallahassee.
I think he thought it was just us, but it's
He
reality.
just had to ask her about Florida State, huh?
Why?
It's
How
the
could
ACC
we
show.
not? It's an ACC show with the
like-
Heisman Trophy winner in
Hey.
our show.
Charlie's like, there were 13 other teams we could have talked about.
Yeah. Everybody want to talk about Florida State.
But that goes back to what I said, Charlie. It's all in who has the button. Went right to Florida State. All right, let's make some predictions. You guys want to have some fun? Let's make some predictions here. See what we're looking at. And I think this is starting to become like an annual tradition for us to kind of look at the schedules and how fancy they have become over the years. These things are really taking on a life of their own. So shout out to Boston College, who leads off our selections today. They got Northern Illinois, Holy Cross to open the season. Their first in tough game and probably loss is going to come on the 16th of September to Florida State. And that's, even though they have it at home, I just don't see a path to victory. Then Louisville, then Virginia, then Army, Georgia Tech on the road, UConn at home, Syracuse on the road, Virginia Tech at home, Pittsburgh on the road, and they close the year out with Miami. What do you guys think their record's going to look like when it's all said and done?
They've got a schedule where I think they can be bowl eligible, I think.
Yeah.
I think they could get squeezed 6 wins out of there. I mean, Northern Illinois, I think that's going to be a tough one. If they can get by that, I mean, they should beat Holy Cross. They get Virginia at home. I mean, they get Army. I mean,
Army's always tricky though, man. Because they're more in shape than you are.
Right. But I mean but if they get those, I mean, that's 4 wins right there. And I think and they should be able to beat UConn, and so they should be able to get one of those wins, Georgia Tech, between Georgia Tech and Virginia Tech. I don't think they'll beat Pitt or Miami.
So you're saying the 4 obvious wins and 1 conference win somewhere.
Yep.
Probably at home.
Yep.
All right. That sounds about right. I think I can agree with that. Charlie, what do you think?
I was trying to look and see because I can't see on my phone.
Oh, you got it on your phone? Okay, sorry about that, Charlie.
The team.
I don't have a way to send it to you. I wish I did. I
Well,
apologize.
I was on the site here.
Okay.
Trying to figure out. We're talking about Boston College.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
See if I can pull up their schedule here.
Yeah, they got North Carolina to open. Holy
Well, that's a
Cross.
loss.
They got Northern Illinois to open.
I'm sorry, Northern Illinois. I'm sorry, Northern Illinois.
Northern Illinois.
That's not a gimme.
That's not a gimme, but it's at home, so they're gonna be the favorite. So I'm gonna go with
They
it.
will be a favorite, but it's not a gimme. They're gonna have to, because there's no Zay Flowers now.
No, there is not.
So they're gonna have to find.
And their 35-year-old quarterback gone too.
I think so. I think he transferred. Didn't he transfer out?
Yeah, he transferred out.
Yeah. Which I don't understand that, but whatever.
But
that COVID year's throwing everybody off.
Yeah.
Well, he transferred out because the guy that came in for him last year was better. So, I think that's the reason why he transferred out.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna go with your 6 wins, Charlie. I mean, Kendrick.
6.
Yeah, I just don't. I have to assume that they're going to find one conference win somewhere, and but I don't know, and it's probably most likely the Virginia one. They might get the Syracuse one too, although
I'll give them 2 conference wins.
So you're saying
And they get
Virginia
you
and
to 6.
Syracuse?
Or Georgia Tech. They can win at Georgia Tech.
They can win at Georgia Tech. 8 wins sounds like a lot to me.
No, they're not going to get 8.
Yeah, I'm gonna say 6. I'm gonna say they get 6.
Well, I just put it up. So that they'll probably end up being 1 and 2 and 3 in the first 5.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, Virginia's a toss-up for me.
Yeah, Virginia and Northern Illinois. Then you have, who's that, North Carolina?
Where you at?
Army.
Army.
Army's
Georgia Tech. Yeah, Army, Georgia Tech, UConn, Syracuse, Virginia Tech, Pittsburgh, Miami.
Yeah, I think they can get 6 games out of that.
Yeah, I think 6 is reasonable. All right, so we're all kind of around the same place.
Yeah, I think we got to see 6 out of there.
All right. We got Duke football, ladies and gentlemen. They opened the season immediately with a loss. I would think. Now, unless barring some, unforeseen something, and that's at Clemson, right? That looks like it's at Clemson.
No, that's at home. That's at home.
Or is that? Yeah, I'm sorry. That's at home. That's what I mean. I'm sorry.
How they get Clemson at home on a Monday night?
I'm shocked by that as well. I'm shocked by that. And it's Labor Day weekend.
It's the same game as it was last year, where Clemson played Georgia Tech.
Okay.
On that Monday night, the first week.
Well, they got them.
So it's more of a showcase game, which Duke, they have their quarterback coming back, Riley Leonard.
Yeah, this is a brutal schedule.
It
is a brutal schedule. They got Clemson, Lafayette. That's nice to have all the games they have at home in September. So they got Clemson, Lafayette, Northwestern, Notre Dame, NC State, all at home. 1 road game, and that's Connecticut. So that first half of the schedule is brutal, but at least you get it at home. The back half of that schedule, oh my God.
The back half is brutal.
Louisville, North Carolina, Virginia, all on the road, and then at home you got Wake Forest and Pitt.
Yeah, that's a tough schedule.
I don't see them winning. Man, that's gonna be tough. Jeez. 1, 2.
I give them, like we playing spades. I give them 5 and a possible.
You see 5 wins here?
Lafayette, Northwestern, and UConn. They should win all 3 of those. They'll lose. Of course, they're going to lose in Clemson and Notre Dame. I think NC State at home could be a toss-up.
I don't know.
At Louisville, we still don't know. As high as everybody is on Louisville, we don't know yet.
Yeah.
And they played. The last time they played in Louisville, that was against Lamar and Jair and all them, and they hung right in there with them. And so
I'm gonna go a little less. I can confidently say I think 3 wins can be had. Maybe 4. Maybe 4.
I'm gonna say they're gonna win 7.
7?
7.
Yes.
Who do you have them beat?
I gotta know you're 7. You obviously Lafayette. You're saying Northwestern, right?
They're gonna beat somebody that we don't expect them to beat, because I think they're good enough to do that.
I'm looking at NC State as that game, Charlie. At home. Depends on how they come out of that Notre Dame game.
I just think they're the place now where their quarterback is solid and I'm sure they have players around him. They're just not going to let him be there by himself that we don't know about. And last year they were really, really competitive in all of their,
They were.
for the
They
most
were.
part of their games. And so I just think we're going off of what we used to think about Duke.
Yeah.
But I think Coach Elko's done an amazing job of building the team and the tradition of being a competitive group. And they have a quarterback that you can actually, say he's, legit. Um, and I think they'll be right in the mix with, all these teams.
Wow. Okay.
The only reason why I'm saying, and I think Lloyd, you'll probably agree with me. The reason why it's hard to see much more than 4 and 5 wins, it's the schedule. It's not any
It's the
knock against
schedule.
Duke. That schedule is insane, especially the
From
back half
September
of it.
30th, from September 30th to November 11th, to me, that is a tough stretch.
I'd say up from September 30th on.
Yeah, that's a tough stretch.
But all these teams are on the same schedule, right?
Yeah, well, they may have some of the same teams, but maybe not in that order. That's a rough.
Because their schedule is vastly more difficult than Louisville's schedule.
I mean, Notre Dame at home and NC State at home is at least you get them at home. But then you got go on the road for Florida State and Louisville, and then turn around 4 days later and play Wake Forest. That seems like a lot.
So is Wake Forest
and then go back on the it's just the turnaround. Not that Wake Forest is going to be great, it's just the turnaround. And then
I'm sure Wake Forest probably. I mean, we'll get to their schedule, but
they probably play that Saturday too.
Are they on a bye week the week before?
I don't know.
Because if they're playing the same Saturday in the same 4-day turnaround, then I mean it's a wash.
They're saying you got inside information. Is this true, Charlie? We just want to know. Say 7 games.
I'm just going off of I see the program trending.
Okay.
Right.
And they have a quarterback that can win a few of these tough games. Just by the way he plays. And then their defense is not like bad.
Okay. All right. He said Charlie Ward's on record for saying 7. I think I'm gonna stick to my 4.
I'll go with 6.
Okay, bowl eligible for you.
Yeah.
All right. This is the team that I'm the most curious about.
Yeah.
Because there's still kind of a rebound factor here that is kind of interesting to me. So I'm just curious to see if they can get past it, if I can say it that way, get past of all the things that have happened over the last year. They open with Tennessee, which is going to be tough in Nashville on the road. But then they come back with James Madison at home.
Which is not a slouch.
Not a slouch. Definitely not a slouch.
No, they're not at all.
Then they go on the road to Maryland.
That's a tough one.
Then they come home for NC State. On the road to Boston College. Then they get William and Mary at home.
That must be homecoming.
Probably. Then they go on the road for 2 with North Carolina and Miami. Georgia Tech is at home. Louisville on the road. Duke at home, and they close out the year with Virginia Tech at home. This is a
brutal schedule.
Yeah, I don't love it, and again they're just coming off of a lot.
Who's their quarterback this year?
Who the quarterback for Virginia Tech?
Virginia.
Let's see. You guys talk amongst yourselves. I'll be able to tell you in just a second.
Because Brendan Armstrong left. He's at NC State now.
That is correct. These transfers are hilarious to me, by the way. Let me just be clear about all of that. I think all of that is
one team in the conference to the other team.
Yeah,
Right.
that's so trade. I mean, moving within the conference is weird to me.
It is very weird.
Right now,
Let's
just
see
to be
here.
honest with you, looking at their schedule, I can't see much more than 3 wins.
Yeah, they're gonna have a tough season.
They got a lot of quarterback choices. Jesus, they got like 11 quarterbacks on the roster.
Sounds like U of L.
So I don't honestly know, Charlie, who the starting guy. If you go by seniority, then it'll be Tony Muskett.
How you say his name like that?
I don't know. I'm not sure why I did either, but I did, and I regret it. But it's done deal now.
It's fun.
Man, this is a tough schedule. I'm gonna say what it looks like. I'm gonna say 5.
You see 5 wins?
So
I
they're
mean,
gonna beat
I'm gonna give him
somebody.
James Madison. I'm gonna give him Georgia Tech. I'm gonna give him William and Mary.
They got to beat somebody like
And
Boston
I guess I'm
College.
gonna give them Duke. I don't think they're gonna win a road. They may be Boston, but see, I don't know how good they're gonna be on the road. That's the question.
That's I can only see 3 because I don't think they'll beat Duke, and so that's why I only see James Madison, William and Mary, and even Georgia Tech is a possible
Well,
because they're coming off of because Virginia's coming in there after playing North Carolina and at Miami. You don't mean I mean
yeah,
they might be a little banged up going into that Georgia Tech game, to be honest with you. And so
yeah.
I just don't see more than 3.
I'm gonna optimistically give them 5. They'll fall just short of a bowl game. Charlie, what are you doing there?
I'll say that 4 or 5.
Okay. All right. Speaking of Georgia Tech, they open in the Mercedes-Benz Stadium against Louisville. Then they play at home against North Carolina State, on the road against Ole Miss. I don't know who put that together, but Wake Forest will they go on the road to Wake Forest. They come home to, is that Bowling Green? It looks like Bowling Green.
Yes.
Miami. Then they go on the road to Miami, come back for Boston College and North Carolina, back to back. Then they go to Virginia. They go to Clemson. They come back for, is that Stanford?
That's Syracuse, I think.
Is that Syracuse? Okay, I get those confused. Okay,
Right.
Syracuse.
Same logo, but yeah.
Right. And then they close out with a massive loss to Georgia.
So who's their quarterback?
I have that.
They just named him last week. I forget who it is, but I know they named their starting quarterback last week.
Is he a transfer?
Yes.
So all these teams, I mean, when we start looking at the schedule, we definitely got to look at who the quarterback is. Because a quarterback is going to either make or break the team on how many games they can win.
Emphatically agree.
And if they don't have
Haynes King.
Oh, here's the kid from Texas A&M.
Right.
So they're going all in
on
the transfer. Everybody's going in on the transfer this year.
He was highly rated coming out of high school, but he just never kind of panned out at Texas A&M. They kept, for whatever reason, he just didn't pan out.
Is this going to be one of those situations where the SEC kid goes to a conference not quite as difficult and has great success?
He's going to Georgia Tech, so
that's all I'm saying. I just like
he could, get back to what the expectations were for him coming out of high school, which he was, highly rated quarterback. I think he may have a 4-star out of Texas. So we'll see. I mean, it should be competitive.
Yeah.
I mean, it's going to be tough first game, but
I'm going to go with 4.
it should be South Carolina State. It's going to be tough with Ole Miss. It's a toss-up for Wake Forest. It should beat Bowling Green. Be a tough one for who is that? Miami.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Then who do they
Boston
have?
College.
Boston College at home.
College is a toss-up.
I'm going to put them in the 4 or 5 range. I just,
Yeah.
I can say 5 games.
Yeah.
I can see 4 or 5. Honestly, the Louisville game is a bit of a toss-up because Louisville had a major injury to their secondary. The top corner's out. He's out most likely for the season. They haven't said he's out for the season, but most likely out for the season. And so, they've got that game is I mean, it's in Atlanta. Granted, it's in the Mercedes-Benz Stadium. I'm not sure how much because the way Louisville fans travel, and as excited as they are, that game could end up being a neutral crowd. I don't know how much of the following Georgia Tech has down in Atlanta when they've been struggling. So that could be a 50-50, even maybe be a majority Louisville crowd, to be honest with you. And so, but that game could be a toss-up. Like I said, I see 4, maybe 5.
I agree.
That has stretched with Clemson and Georgia. With
it's not great. It's not great. It's not a great way to. It's not a great way to on that back half of the season. Some of these teams are so. Their second half of the season is so backloaded.
Backloaded, yeah.
Like, goodness gracious. The U is back once again, and so they're coming with Miami of Ohio, followed by Texas A&M, followed by Bethune-Cookman. 3 straight home games. Then they play Temple. Then they get a bye. Then they play Georgia Tech. So it is not unrealistic to think they could be 1, 2, 3, 4-1.
I think they will be. Let's see, 4-1 heading into that North Carolina game.
Going into the North Carolina game. Now, the second half of the season, North Carolina on the road, Clemson at home. That's interesting. Virginia at home. Then on the road for NC State, on the road for Florida State, Louisville at home, and then Boston. They close the season with Boston College.
So you don't think Miami can beat Texas A&M?
I don't think they will that early in the season.
Yeah,
So we're saying Texas A&M is going to be really good early in the season.
I think they'll be. I just believe in them more than I believe in Miami, to be honest.
That's where it came down to me.
Okay.
If I had to put money on who I thought would be more prepared for that game, I'd say Texas A&M.
Plus, they're breaking in the Bobby Petrino offense at Texas A&M.
Right. But having said that, I think they for sure get a bowl eligibility. I think there's probably 7 wins here.
I think they can get 8.
They may get 8. I wouldn't be opposed to saying 8, but I know for sure they're getting, I think, 7. You see 8, Charlie, or higher?
They got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So they got 6 home games. So they should win all of their home games, regardless of who they're playing.
But they won't beat Clemson at home, I don't think.
You think they're gonna win all their home games, Charlie?
I doubt it. But
okay, all right. Okay, I was gonna say that.
You didn't see Clemson sitting there, did you?
I was gonna say that's a bold prediction, my brother.
I forgot they're playing Clemson, but I see 7, probably 7 wins, 8 wins.
I think it's 7.
They'll beat somebody that they weren't supposed to,
right?
Or we say they weren't supposed to.
Okay.
I think because I'm favoring them to win that Louisville game. And that's what gives me that 8th win.
That's going to be again. Louisville's such a mystery. I mean,
they are such a mystery right now.
Yeah, depending on who you believe, they're going to be great or they're going to be just average. So we're going to see.
Or
But
it
right
can't
now,
be average.
huh?
So they can't be average.
Well, I don't know. Let's
Well,
see.
If
NC
they're
State.
if they're average, then the coach is not going to be there.
Braum ain't going nowhere.
Oh,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
sorry.
no, I agree.
My bad. They got a new coach.
They got a new coach. Yeah, they got a new coach
He's
now.
got some.
Yeah,
He's gonna have some leeway a little bit.
yeah.
NC
NC
State.
State. They got UConn to open the season, followed by Notre Dame, followed by Virginia.
Is UConn? Why is UConn
So-
not in the
so-
ACC?
I was just going to ask the same thing.
Because they are the whipping boy for every. It seems like everybody in the conference. So why not just make them official?
They need a fourth team to make that even anyway, since they're adding SMU, Cal, and
Exactly.
Stanford.
Just give them their ACC
Credentials, yes.
right
'Cause-
credentials and let them on the end. What are we waiting on?
And it'll be great for basketball.
It'd be massive.
Fantastic for basketball,
Oh my
especially
God,
on the women's side.
Yeah, it'd be
You know,
great.
Cal, Louisville, UConn, Miami, all in the same.
That'd be
conference.
fantastic. That would be fantastic. But they go Notre Dame, VMI, Virginia. Then they come back with Louisville, Marshall, and Duke. And then they close out with Clemson, Miami at home. And then Wake Forest, Virginia Tech on the road, and then they finish the season with North Carolina.
We just don't know their quarterback situation.
Yeah. There's a lot of fluctuation in the ACC this year at the quarterback position.
I
And
can see them winning 8 games.
You can see 8.
I can see it, but it depends on that quarterback situation.
You're jumping way out there for me. 8 sounds like a lot. Yeah, 8 sounds like a lot. I'm probably more inclined to go under on that 8.
I'll let me adjust that. I say on the high end, I see 8.
You see high end on 8. Okay. I'm
Well,
probably going to go with my 5. I'm going with my 5.
I'll say 7 on the high end.
7. Okay.
6 kind of being.
I think 6.
low.
Yeah, look. Yeah, I think somewhere between 6 and 8.
So y'all going bowl eligible?
Yeah, I think they'll be bowl eligible.
Okay. All right. Pitt, the mighty Pitt Panthers, will be looking to the sideline for many plays this season. Oh, that's over. No, that's over, right? They got a new coordinator now. There's no more looking to the sideline.
Yeah, no, running to the sideline.
Running to the sideline, right. But they open with Wofford. A Cincinnati game is not easy, even though it's at home. Not easy. West Virginia, backyard brawl. That's I don't know about that one. North Carolina.
So what? Cincinnati's in the.
They're in the Big 12 now.
Big 12, right?
Yeah.
Do they go in this year? This is their first year, right?
I think this is the first year. If I'm not mistaken, this is the first year. Yeah.
Everybody goes in this year.
So Wofford, Cincinnati, West Virginia, North Carolina, Virginia Tech, all in September. That's not an easy September. Then they get a bye week. Then they come back with Louisville, Wake Forest, Notre Dame, Wake Forest, Notre Dame on the road. They bookended with Florida as they go into November. Then they close out the season with Syracuse, Boston College, and Duke. I'm going to say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm going to say 7.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. I'm thinking 7.
I'm going to say 7 wins. I'm going to say 7 wins.
So you got them being Duke, Boston College, Syracuse.
Yeah. Wofford.
I got them beating Cincinnati.
I'm
I have them losing to
assuming.
West Virginia.
I am assuming they're going to beat Cincinnati only because it's at home.
Who?
That's
Who's their
probably a
quarterback?
horrible assumption, but I'm assuming they are. Now we
They,
haven't.
they
That's not
lost.
my official pick because we do that next week. But
They lost. They lost some key pieces,
they
like
lost a lot
on
of key
defense.
pieces. Right.
So it'd be a matter of how because they normally are good on defense, like
Right.
every year.
Right.
Then offensively, they lost the running back Anaconda,
Yeah.
who was or Canada, who was their bell cow
Yeah.
last year.
So you talked me out of the
Um,
6. You keep talking, Charlie. I'm about to
and
downgrade him to 4.
then, I mean, who's the quarterback? Are we is Keith Slow? Slow still there? Or are they moved on from him?
Seems like
And
they moved on for Slovis.
they found somebody else?
Here's what I'm gonna lean
I
on
think
for
he
them.
graduated out finally, didn't he?
Here's what I'm leaning on for
Or is
Pitt
JT
is the
Daniels there?
transfers.
He might have dug up Dan Marino.
I'm leaning on Pitt on their edge rushers, on Dayan Hayes and Bengali Kamara. And I'm saying
They're good players.
I'm saying they're gonna impact some games and make it interesting. That's what I'm counting on.
Charlie, you done taught me down to 4-8.
Yeah, you probably did. You really probably did. I hate that, but it's the truth.
I'm
Guess
just
who their
saying.
new quarterback is?
Oh Lord. Whenever you're that excited, it's gonna be some nonsense.
It's Phil Yurkovich.
There you go.
He came from within. Was he at Boston College?
He was at Boston College. He found a new home.
He was 35 at Boston College.
He will start the season at 36.
Mortgage must be getting paid off.
This is fantastic. I adore transfers like this. Now I'm a firm 4. I was on the fence with the 4 at first, but now I'm firm with my.
I'm with you.
All right. Syracuse. We got Colgate. We got Western Michigan, Purdue, Army, Clemson on the September 30th. That's a tough stretch right there. Clemson, North Carolina, Florida State, all in a row. Though they get Clemson at home, which is interesting. Florida State on the road. Virginia Tech on the road. Then Boston College at home. Pittsburgh at a neutral site at Yankee Stadium, which is just weird in and of itself. And then they close out the year with Georgia Tech and Wake Forest.
I don't understand.
7 games.
I don't understand the Yankee Stadium game.
I don't get that at all. I just
That's that. They're in New York, and the Yankee Stadium is probably paying them more than what they would make at home.
Yeah, but Syracuse is nowhere near. Syracuse is nowhere near the Bronx.
Well, Yankee Stadium needs that game now because they are terrible right now. They are absolutely.
They won last night.
Well, that just put them 5 games under.
They just stopped their 9-game losing streak. 10
oh my God, they've been so bad. Yeah, they've been so bad.
Aaron Judge finally came back yesterday, so
they're gonna need that game. I don't. Charlie, did you say 7?
Yeah, I think they win 7.
I think I can see 7 wins on there.
I need Coach Babers to win.
Okay.
And then quarterback.
I mean, I honestly I could see 8 up to 8 on there. The Purdue kind of toss up because we don't know about Purdue, but give them that win, they'll be 4-0 going into Clemson. Then I think they'll lose 4 straight. But I mean, Boston College, Pittsburgh, Georgia Tech, and Wake Forest.
I was gonna say the backside of it is not that bad though. Yeah, so okay, I can get on board with the 8.
They got Colgate, Western Michigan,
right,
Purdue,
right,
and Army.
That should be 4-0.
Those 4 should be good. Then they got Clemson, North Carolina, Florida State. It should be able to beat Virginia Tech.
That's on the road.
Yeah.
They got a veteran quarterback
Yeah.
and a good running back. So
And some decent receivers. Like they weren't bad. They just couldn't win on the road.
yeah, that was their
Shout out
Hence
to my
why,
man Dino.
hence why I have them losing to Virginia Tech. Remember last year when we tried to tell you,
Yeah, I
Lloyd?
remember. Why you gotta bring up old stuff? I don't understand why you're doing that.
1, 2, 3.
I can get on board with the 8.
So you think they can win all their home games? That's what you're saying?
Not Clemson,
Not Clemson.
but
Minus
everything else.
Clemson?
I think they can
So
win
that's
everything else.
They can win the rest of them.
1, 2, 3. So that's 4,
Yeah,
5,
yeah.
6. So that's 6 home games that you're
Yep.
saying out of the 7 they should
And then they'll
win.
beat Georgia Tech.
Then you're saying they beat Georgia Tech.
Yeah.
And Pittsburgh. Are we
And probably Pittsburgh
probably
at the neutral site.
Oh,
Just
okay.
because that's weird. And Pittsburgh's not going to be prepared for the weirdness. So there you go.
Pittsburgh might be closer to the Bronx than Syracuse is.
Right. Virginia Tech.
They're always a wild card.
Yeah, you never know what you're going to get with
You
Virginia
just
Tech.
don't know. Since Frank Beamer left, you just don't know.
Shout out to friend of the pod, Josh Morgan, by the way. ODU. They opened the season with ODU. I'm assuming that's a win. I don't know. Purdue, Rutgers, Marshall. So on paper, that I don't know if that's 4-0 or not. I don't know.
It could be. I'm going to give them 4-0.
Yeah.
ODU won't be a pushover.
No. That'll be a
'Cause it's
huge
a-
game for Old Dominion. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's the first game, all first games against like an ODU type team that we're accustomed to. I'm not sure what they have, but most times they're competitive.
Yeah.
So those first games like that, you have to be aware of and not allow them to come in and steal one. We've seen that from teams time to time where we see a schedule like a Liberty, and they
Yeah.
come in and win the
Right.
first game. So
That game's going to be huge to ODU too.
Oh, it's their game. It's the one for them. I don't think they'll beat Pitt. I don't think they'll beat Florida State. They should beat Wake Forest, I would assume.
I don't know.
I don't
I
know,
think
but
they
I'm
can beat
assuming.
Pitt.
Huh?
I think they can
I
beat
think
Pitt.
they can beat Pitt at home. They're at home, so they should be able to compete there.
You guys are really optimistic.
5-0 going into
Wake
Florida
Forest.
State.
Syracuse, Louisville, Boston College, NC State, Virginia to close out the season on the road. 3 of the last 4 on the road.
Well, they got 2 Big Ten teams back to back, Purdue and Rutgers.
Yeah.
That's weird. I'm gonna give them 5-0 start, and then
You saying 5-0?
yeah, I think you win all 5 of those.
I'm saying 4-1. I don't see it. I don't know.
You think they'll just lose to somebody? You just don't know who.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
I can see that.
Right. Just Virginia Tech doesn't like success. They haven't proven that they're in love with success.
I'm going
at
to give them 5-0. Then they'll lose to Florida State and Wake
2 in a row.
Forest, and Syracuse is kind of a toss up. That Louisville game's a toss up, and then they'll beat Boston College.
And then Virginia
And the-
Tech,
and-
NC State's a toss up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think they win that Virginia game.
Yeah, they're winning
I can give them 7. I'll give them 7.
I can see that too.
I'm gonna go one less, but bowl eligible. So I'll give them the 6.
What is that? They always got some oddball.
I was gonna say Wake Forest did this to us last year, and gave us this old crazy looking schedule. So
When you first clicked, I thought it was a pop up.
when we found the schedule, I was like, "What is this? Is this a meme? What are we doing?" I don't even know who this opening school is.
Elon.
Is that Elon again?
You must have found an actual printout of the schedule, didn't you? Yeah.
Okay. So
It's
Elon is the opening, and then the next game is who? Navy?
No, Vanderbilt.
Oh, that's Vanderbilt?
Yeah, I knew that
Never
was
would have guessed
Vanderbilt.
that. Never would have
Yeah,
guessed
I
that.
knew the anchor is Vanderbilt.
Okay, so Elon and Vanderbilt, which should put them at 2-0. Then
Old Dominion.
Old Dominion. Okay, so that would be 3-0. So is that Georgia Tech coming up?
Georgia
Family
Tech.
weekend.
Uh-huh.
Okay,
4-0.
it's 4-0. Okay, Wake
Then you
Forest is
got
coming out the
Clemson.
gate strong. So, so Clemson.
4-1. At
Virginia Tech.
That's Virginia Tech.
That's that toss up. If that game's at night in Blacksburg, I think I might go with Virginia Tech.
Yeah. Who is that homecoming weekend? The Black Panthers.
Is that Pitt?
Is that Pitt Panthers?
Yeah, I
It's not
think
even the
that's
school colors. Okay.
It's just a Panther.
Then
Wakanda.
have Florida
Wakanda. I'm
State.
with it, Wakanda. With that, I just don't know why they did it. Florida State. Is that Florida
On the
State?
road. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
The
that's a
shish
loss.
kebab is Florida State. Okay.
Why is that in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, though?
Because they played here last year.
Yeah, Winston-Salem's where Wake Forest is.
I don't know why I thought they were further down the road. I got a friend who just moved to Winston, so I'll let him know. Okay. It'll be a fun game for him to go to. Okay. That's Duke.
On the road.
All right.
I think I'm gonna give them that one.
Is that NC State?
NC State,
NC
Notre
State.
Dame, and Syracuse.
And then Notre Dame and Syracuse.
So 4-0, 4-1.
They playing their old quarterback. We got them on the schedule.
That'll be fun. Apparently, he's a Heisman contender.
Yeah. I give him 8 wins.
Why are you laughing?
Because it's funny.
Because the only reason why he's a Heisman contender is because he's at Notre Dame.
There's no.
I think I believe in Leary more than I believe in him.
I would have to agree with that 100%. I think they'll be bowl eligible. They'll get 6 wins somewhere.
I got 8.
You got 8?
Outside of Clemson, Florida State, and Notre Dame, who else is their sure loss?
But it's Wake Forest. They always find a way to lose.
They were right there 2 years ago.
It'll be interesting to see
I don't see
how to
it.
replace their quarterback. Because,
Yeah, I don't see it.
it's a system. It's a system deal.
Yeah, but I'm
so
just
that-
going by the schedule.
I hear you. I'm gonna say 6.
I mean, at Virginia Tech, like I said, that's a big toss up. But the rest of that, and we just don't know with Duke.
I'm going 6 off of Charlie's theory that they're gonna have phenomenal quarterback play, and Duke's gonna find a way to beat some teams.
Vanderbilt might get them.
So you're taking away their 4-0, and you're saying they're 3.
I'm staying with 4-0.
All right, Charlie. What'd you say, Charlie?
I'll go with 6.
All right. Drake May. All eyes on me. He's doing his best Tupac this year. They open with South Carolina in Charlotte. They go to App State, which is always a battle, regardless of who the coach
They
is.
got App State at home.
Right, they got App State at home. Sorry. They go to. I didn't mean to say they go to, as in they were going to their place, but their next game too is App State. Minnesota. Then they're at Pitt. That feels very. The Minnesota is the X factor for me.
Well,
That's going to be a big game.
all these teams, all these games, they'll be in the mix.
Yeah,
because of the quarterback. And,
absolutely.
and what have you. So, I'm going to say 9 wins.
Oh,
9.
Who's the second
Syracuse,
loss?
Miami.
Because they always beat Miami.
They got 3 in a row: Syracuse, Miami, Virginia, all at home.
I
Those
got
are
them.
all winnable.
I only got one loss on there.
On the whole
Clemson.
schedule?
Yeah,
So you think you say Clemson?
Clemson at Clemson.
I could see them losing to South Carolina.
I-
Being the first game.
I could, but I wouldn't be surprised, but I'm going to pick them in that one.
See, I think that's the game they're going to win. I'm more concerned about, even though they're coming to their building, I'm more concerned about the Minnesota one. So they're just so physical. They're just so
Minnesota
physical.
is physical. I really and truly, and this is a lot of it too, is my trust in him.
Yeah.
In May. That's why I think they win that South Carolina game. I think they win that Minnesota game probably and because it's at home.
No Josh Downs to throw to.
And he's a great quarterback. He'll figure it out.
All right, I'm just saying.
So I only see one loss. Maybe 2. Maybe they lose at NC State. Maybe, but
I'm gonna give.
They only got 4 games away from home. And they only leave the state once? They got a Syracuse schedule.
Yeah. It's a nice schedule. It's a nice schedule. I'm gonna say
they leave the state 3 times.
I'm gonna say 2 losses. I'm gonna say 2 losses.
Okay.
My assumption is that Clemson and we'll get to those schedules, but that Clemson and Florida State.
So they're 10. So you're saying they're 10-2?
I'm saying 10-2.
Yeah, and I'm saying 11-1.
They got a chance to be 11-1.
All right.
Because they don't. Do they play Clemson?
They play Clemson at the end of the season.
They play Clemson at the end, which that should be a massive. That might be a game day game.
Yeah.
If things pan out the way that they should, that could be a game day game.
Mm.
So we'll see.
I'm going 11-1.
You joining them on that 11-1, Charlie?
10-2.
10-2? Okay, he's joining me. All right. Louisville. First of all, let me just say how much I hate this schedule. I hate the look of this. I hate it.
They going for the airport look.
I get it. I just hate it. It's terrible. This is absolutely hideous. But nevertheless, so this is also an interesting schedule, which is one of the reasons why I think a lot of people are saying Louisville should be in the mix. Georgia Tech, Murray State, Indiana.
They should win all 3 of those.
Then you have Boston College.
You should win that one. They should have beat Boston College last year with Zay Flowers.
Right.
At Boston College.
Right. Then you have NC State.
That's the tricky one.
That's a tricky one because it's away.
And the Notre Dame game's next week.
And the Notre Dame game, though they've seen Sam Hartman, so there shouldn't be any surprises. Then Pitt.
They should win.
They should win that. Then they have Duke, Virginia Tech, Virginia, Miami, and they close the year off with Kentucky. Glowing omission is no Clemson, and no Florida State.
I see 8-4.
Man.
Because I think they lose that NC State game. I think they lose to Notre Dame, and I think they'll lose to Miami, and I think they're going to lose to Kentucky. To be honest with you, which losing your last 2 games in a row will have people up in arms around here, especially to Kentucky. But
right,
I think 8-4.
I can see that 8-4.
You know what's interesting about that, and by the way, I can get on board with 8-4 as well. But what's interesting about it is, as much as it could be 8-4, it could also easily be 10-2.
It very well could be.
Because if they are, and I think the first game is going to tell us everything. If they can go to that game, and because here's what makes me interesting for me, I think the quarterback's going to be okay. I think Jake Plummer's going to be fine. But it's the defense for me. if that defense can rise to the occasion, then this is a winnable schedule. Like, this is not a hard schedule.
I mean, honestly, it's not inconceivable that they beat Notre Dame, to be honest with you. It's not inconceivable.
It's not, because, again, we're not believers of Sam Hartman. We don't believe. So
at the same time, though, I'll also factor in new coach, new system. There's going to be a loss somewhere in there that you don't expect.
New coach, new system, but not to the player that it matters to the most. And that's what makes Louisville very, very intriguing, because Jake Plummer has played in this system. So there's no surprises for him. So
yeah, he has.
Well, I'm saying if he can accelerate everyone else, if he has accelerated everyone else's learning curve, then this could be an interesting year. This could really be an interesting year. And by the way, they have the X factor. Like, no one knows what they're going to do, which is hard to prepare for a team that you have no idea what they're bringing to the table. So I don't know. I'm curious. I'm very curious.
I could see 10-2 is the ceiling.
I think so too. I think
8-4 is realistic.
8-4 is probably more realistic. 10-2 is like everything fell in place and all the stars lined up. Now, 10-2 will put them on the outside looking in, right? Because when we get to Clemson,
Hold on.
Oh, go back.
Can we do Florida State next? Because we're next.
We got to save the best for last, Charlie.
You know what?
Florida State.
Save the best for last.
I'll accommodate you, Charlie. I'll accommodate you.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
That's
so Florida State is feeling truly ambitious. They're coming right out the gate against LSU.
Bro, we won that game last year.
You won that game last year. So
and nobody expected us to win the game. That's what was shocking.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Now you are expected to win the game.
Yeah, you are expected to win that game.
Right.
I mean, it's another good game. Nobody expected us to be able to win the game last year because they felt like the mighty SEC was mighty. And then when we started to compete at a high level, then it, they're like, oh, okay. So this year, they feel like we should win the game.
He's flying all around the humble flex. But I'm gonna let you live, Charlie.
You flying under the radar of humble flex more than y'all flying under the national championship.
There's no flying under the radar at all.
I'm just saying the expectations is different this year.
I'm gonna be honest with you,
because we won 10 games last year, 11 or 10.
I'm gonna be honest with you. The game, to me, you're 3-0 going to Clemson, and that's the game. September 23rd is the game. That, to me, that decides everything.
Not really.
It just decides who's
going to be wearing the home jersey in the ACC championship game.
Well,
yes.
But what I'm saying is, well, that's true. But I'm saying I don't think you're going to lose another game after that game.
No.
So I'm gonna do something, Charlie, you're not gonna like. I think they're undefeated going to the ACC championship game.
I agree. That Clemson game, though, I mean, that's going to be that's going to be a primetime game. That's probably going to be a game day game at night in Death Valley. I think I'm going to go Clemson that game. I'll go Clemson that game.
Charlie, just be prepared for me to pick Florida State every week.
Well, the rest of the schedule, I mean.
I'll be joining you every week.
Gauntlet.
I'll be joining you every week in picking Florida State this year. And not just. And I believe that pick. I'm gonna be honest with you. I believe that pick. I just don't know.
We have a chance to win every game. We do.
That's all I'm saying, Charlie.
Finally, you admitted it.
That's all I'm saying, Charlie.
It took us pulling teeth.
Pulling
giant ropes.
All right. Our last one.
Yes.
At Charlie Ward's request. The Clemson Tigers favored to win.
Yeah, the favorite to win the ACC. Yes, they
are. Duke, Charleston Southern at home, Florida Atlantic at home, Florida State at home. Then Syracuse on the road. They have five road games.
5 road games.
Wake Forest on at home, Miami on the road, NC State on the road, and then Notre Dame, Georgia Tech, North Carolina at home, and then they finish off with their rival South Carolina.
You know what? I don't think they're going to win the conference.
Huh?
I don't think they're going to win the conference.
I
think they win that Florida State game, but I mean, looking at their schedule, at Miami's not going to be easy, and you get Clemson at home. And you have at South Carolina, at South Carolina to end the season, and you have North Carolina back to back. I don't think they're going to win the conference.
Is everybody ready for the hot take of the night of the morning? 9-3.
I can see that. I can really see that.
I'm saying 9-3.
Even beating Florida State at home, I can see them. I can see them losing to Miami. To be honest with you,
I don't think they're going to beat Florida. Yeah, I don't think they'll beat Florida State. I don't think they're going to beat Miami, and I don't think they're going to beat Notre Dame.
You have them losing 2 home games, though. That's what's hard for me to do.
Well, let me just say, here's the reason why. I am not a believer in Cade Klubnik. I'm just not. I'm not a believer in either one of them.
Hold on.
Why don't you believe in that dude?
Charlie, remember how big he was on Gabe Klubnik last year?
No. That's not true.
Yes, it is true.
I was not a big believer. What I said was, which by the way came to pass, is that they were going to make a change at some point. Which
Go ahead
they
and say
did.
the other name, because I know you want to. Say the former quarterback's name.
DJ Uyagalele. And I have to say it now because I'm never going to get a chance to say it again. But you know what? They have Washington favored really high because of him.
You mean Washington State?
Is he at Washington State? I thought he was at Washington.
No, Pennick is at Washington.
Oh, Pennick's at Washington. That's why they got him so high.
Yeah, because
before
IU, Pennick not stay healthy for nothing at IU. Then he goes to Washington. Now he's a Heisman candidate.
Listen, apparently. Transferring makes you a Heisman candidate. I'm looking at
transferring to a place that actually blocks up front helps. Having an offensive line makes all the difference in the world.
I believe in the Klubnik kid. I think he's solid. And
they have a tough schedule.
The challenge is just they have new coordinators.
Yeah,
or at least the offensive guy is new.
I'll just say this.
Just trying to figure that piece out.
I'll just say this real quick, Charlie. The back half of his season was not great last year. It did not end well. Like you remember, he was making some really okay, but
and he still has a good running back.
That's the saving grace. But here's the thing: everybody knows they have a great running back, which is why this kid's gonna have to go win games. He's gonna have to go win games because you're not gonna let Shipley beat you.
Yeah, but they got talent. I mean,
they got talent. We'll see.
Got talent on the outside, and I just look at his.
Charlie, I'm starting to feel like this is you trying to sell us on the radar thing again on the low.
No.
Okay, all right. I'm watching you, Charlie.
I just think the guy's a pretty good quarterback.
Okay.
I mean, just from last year, getting a chance to watch him play. I just think he's solid, and I can't imagine him, going from what he went from his freshman year to his sophomore year, just declining, with some more time and work, and in the system that they were going to be running.
Yeah,
but he's talented.
I don't think he'll regress. I just wonder how much of a jump will he make, because. We all thought DJ would make this massive jump too, and it never really happened. And so I'm wondering if this kid will make a jump as well. But I'm going 9-3.
He's not DJ.
So what are you saying? What are you giving him, Charlie? I know you're giving him one loss at least.
Yeah. I mean, they're going to be in the mix. I mean, it's going to be 11-1, 10-2 potentially.
Okay.
but I don't see them losing 3 games.
Okay. The 10-2 makes it very interesting because it goes back to what we said about Louisville. If Louisville somehow finds itself and gets to
They go
10-2, and the
Hey,
loss that Clemson has is the undefeated Florida State,
they'll put Clemson ahead of Louisville. But but honestly, looking at that schedule, 9-3 is not out of the question.
that's all I'm saying, bro.
And it really is because Clemson plays a hard schedule this year.
They finally got a hard schedule.
They got Florida State, Notre Dame, South Carolina, and North Carolina.
They finally got a hard schedule that's laid
But
out.
still, amazingly, all of those games are at home,
Well,
except
listen,
for the South Carolina.
that's called being grandfathered in. The last question that I want to ask you guys before we end it. Great, and this is a great preview show. How bad does the ACC need playoff teams this year? Is this critical to the success of this conference going forward? Because if you can't get a playoff team this year, going into the extension next year, does that make it very hard to be taken seriously next year?
No, because what you just done, they're gonna have to revamp it because who's the Pac-12? I mean, they
Right.
had them, they had them as an option, but they're gonna have to revamp it. But now you have more teams in these conferences, and there's going to be more losses, you know, within the conferences. And
Especially in
so
that
that
SEC.
correct. So now you're talking about two losses, um, potentially
Teams
3
getting in.
losses for some of these teams, and we still only have 4 spots, right, for this year. Or
This
is
For
it-
this
year-
year.
This year, you
Yeah,
got
for
the same 6, right?
pretty much same 6.
It's 4 spots. It's 4 spots in
It's 4
playoffs right now.
spots.
Is it 4? I thought it was
Yeah.
6.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, it's moving up to 6. It's 4 right now.
So
So
that's what I'm saying. Like you still got four teams that's going to make it to the CFP, and so potentially you're going to have some teams in these other conferences that's adding teams, you know, in the mix as far as having 2 losses, potentially 3 getting in, depending upon who they are, and so you know you got to look at the SEC. They're going to be in the mix with Georgia, Alabama, LSU potentially because of their schedules. And then the Big Ten. I mean, you got the rat race over there: Ohio State, Michigan, and those teams that they're playing with. Those are most of the top teams. And then the Big 12. I mean, that's they got like 30 teams.
Yeah, it's a lot
So
of things.
there's a toss up on who's going to come out of there. So I just think it's still a chance for an ACC team to be able to get in the mix, even with not even with, but if they have 1 loss, they can be in the mix and they're ACC champion.
I think it depends who that loss is against.
Yeah.
If it's Florida State and Clemson and their 1 losses against each other, I think they're okay. But like if Louisville somehow they have the 1 loss, I don't think Louisville gets in the mix.
I think it all, and I just realized why I'm always thinking 6 because I gotta stop watching the weekly college football prediction show.
New Year's 6 bowls.
Yeah, it's throwing the weekly college football prediction show throws me off because they do the 4 and then there's that 2 that's right on the edge. And in my mind, for some reason, it got burned into 6. But I think what's got to happen is that the 3 or 4 best teams of the ACC got to be the 3 to 4 best teams in the ACC all year long, and they got to be in the rankings. That's how they survive this. Because if the best,
I think they're going to survive if they bring in the teams. I mean, them finishing where they finish in the playoffs is not going to matter. If they bring in Cal, Stanford, and SMU.
Well, next year it won't matter. This year it will. You see what I'm saying? Like this year they gotta. I don't know. I just feel like you
I
can't
just know like
regress.
conference survival is not hinging on wins and losses. It's hinging on what kind of deals can you make.
But I think playoff relevancy.
It helps. It helps. Don't get me wrong. It helps, but I don't think it hinges on.
But I think playoff relevancy does.
Mm.
I think you can't go into the next year looking like a weak conference because then you just give credibility to the other four, whatever it is.
So what if you don't have, just say you have one dominant team, and then the other teams are, you know,
I think as long as you have
good.
one, and the other ones are competitive, I think you're fine. But I
mean,
think
that's essentially, we being honest, that's essentially what the Big Ten has been. It's been Ohio State,
I
Michigan
agree.
came up last year.
I agree, but for some reason the perception is
Right.
that the Big Ten, top to bottom, is a better conference. And same thing with the SEC. The perception is that they're a better conference, which the truth is this is really top. Both of those conferences are just really top heavy.
Right.
So I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see, but I think the big dogs got to be the big dogs this year. So we need Florida State to be great. We need Clemson to be great.
We need Florida State not to fly under the radar, Charles.
No flying under the radar. Y'all got to fly high. Let's go Seminoles.
They'll compete.
There he goes. He hit a humble flex for that one.
He's always humble flexing you. I don't
know why.
I don't either.
Because he's being humble, saying, "Oh, we'll compete," knowing good and well they're going to do more than compete.
That kind of does feel like a little bit.
And that was a Charlie Ward humble flex.
I mean, because they're ranked 7, Charles. You can't say that they're going to be ranked 7.
They are. They'll show up and compete.
And he's got that smile. It's that wry, confident smile.
That's not what people are looking for when they're in the top 10 is a competition. They're looking for a dominance. And I think that's what they're going to present. Okay. Let's do some shout outs. Collective shout out again to Laura Rutledge for stopping by and pushing ham on us. I'm with it. Honey baked ham. But I appreciate her stopping by. And then my other one is I'm gonna go way off the path a little bit. Shout out to Sha'Carri Richardson.
Yeah.
Talk about a comeback story. That might be the comeback athlete of the year.
It should be, yeah.
And if you saw the race, she literally was the comeback. I mean, I don't know if I've ever seen anybody close out like that in a 100-meter race.
Right, in a 100-meter, yeah.
That was impressive. That was very impressive. Normally, that's not enough space to come back in.
Right.
So, shout out to her, man. I got to give her props. And then there's another young lady that won like the discus throw, and I apologize to her because I can't remember her name. It's kind of a challenging name. Hopefully, I can find it. You guys talk amongst yourself. I'll find it. But those are my 2 shout outs.
Go ahead and give your shout outs, Charles.
Well, I'm going to send a shout out to my wife, Tanja. She graduated. She's graduating.
Congratulations.
USC. So she's a Trojan, getting her master's in digital media management.
Wow, that's very cool.
So she finished a capstone and got a good report from the teacher on it. And so I'm very proud of her. She's amazing. She's doing all this. She's getting a master's, working, and doing foundation work, and being a husband, a wife, and mother, and she does it all with excellence. And so I don't know how she does it, but I know how she does. She's disciplined and those types of things. So I just admire, because it just spins my head how she's able to be effective doing all those things.
That's awesome.
That is very cool. And by the way, the young lady's name is Lalaga Tasaga.
Hawaiian?
Huh?
Is she Hawaiian?
Yes, she is Hawaiian.
Okay.
And she went to Iowa. Collins, that was her last line. Lalaga Tasaga Collins.
Talk about a culture shock going from Hawaii to Iowa. Jesus.
I know that's probably one of the greatest jumps of all time. But she is the world champion in discus throw, and I would say arguably the favorite to win the gold medal next year in the Olympics. So there you go.
Congratulations to her.
All right.
My shout
now, sir.
My shout out, I'm going a little bit off the board. It's something I'm sure Charlie will appreciate, though. Shout out to the parents of all these athletes in Jefferson County because of the heat. Practice schedules are all over the place. We've got some teams practicing at 6 o'clock in the morning, some teams practicing at 6:30 at night just to try to avoid the heat. These games, we've got games that are supposed to start at 7:30. That's not starting until 8:30 because of the heat. And so that means mom and dad are rearranging their schedules all over the place, trying to get these kids to practices and games. So shout out to them because they're the real MVPs in this. I was out at males practice the other day. They practice at 6:30 at night, and you got players coming in and out because they've got their schedules. And so just shout out to the parents for being able to work around that and trying to make it work. Because it's been crazy and insanely hot here these past few days.
Welcome to Texas football.
Hey.
They've been making them adjust. And I don't know, do y'all do that in Florida where you practice early morning as well?
No. I mean, some schools probably do.
Some schools do.
Just because they want to make sure they get their practice in.
Yeah.
And it's probably the same situation and reason. But this is just going to continue to push for indoor facility.
There are schools that can afford it.
All Texas schools seem like they have an indoor facility.
Seem like they have an
stadium.
indoor facility.
You see that stadium that they just opened down there? That high school stadium?
Yeah.
Where?
In Melissa. Like 35 million. Yeah. But that's cheap. That's on the cheap side by comparison.
Did you see their indoor practice? Indoor
is nice. It's very nice.
And Melissa.
Yeah, it's very nice.
That's insane.
All of the schools up in that area have very, 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 very nice facilities. Like Melissa, Allen, Prosper.
Wonder why we think SMU is going to bounce back so fast.
Yeah.
So wonder why we think SMU is going to bounce back so fast.
Listen, there's not a lack of funds in that North Dallas area. That is not one of their problems. So I agree. Yeah, that Melissa Stadium is very, very nice. Shout out to Melissa. All right. Well, we got it. That's our college ACC football preview. Now you know where we are. Next week, we will start predicting games. So there you go. With that being said,
game week next week.
Huh?
So excited. Actually have game week next week.
Yeah, man. It's going to be fun.
Finally here.
It's going to be fun. It's going to be a fun year. Well, that's Kendrick Haskins. That's Charlie Ward down there. All nicked up. And I'm Lloyd Spence. I hope you guys enjoyed yourself. I hope you listen, our predictions are going to be completely different to our week to week because listen, we're trying to win. Who won last year? I don't remember who that was that won last year.
Charlie won, right?
I know. That's what I'm saying. And I need that to change. So I'm coming for you, Charlie Ward. Starting next week.
You're over this show. You've never.
Yeah, I haven't won one yet. Y'all didn't both have to laugh, though. Y'all didn't both have to laugh, though. That wasn't necessary. It just feels like everybody wants to chuckle.
I'm just saying you rode that Syracuse bus a long time last year.
That's what got me. That's what got me in the end. All right. Y'all have a good Thursday. We'll see you next week.
All right.
You've been listening to Believe in the ACC with Charlie Ward, Lloyd Spence, and Kendrick Haskins. Please like, follow, subscribe, and share from the Noisemakers page on Facebook and on YouTube. And you can also listen to us on Spotify, Apple Music, iTunes, and wherever podcasts can be heard.